Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's information session for our firefighter paramedic recruitment. My name is Jennifer Thames, and I'm the Communications and Marketing Specialist for Emergency Services, and I will be moderating today's session. The session is being recorded, and we will post it on our website after it's over. Before we begin, I just want to acknowledge that we are presenting from Strathcona County, located on Treaty 6 territory and homeland of the Métis Nation of Alberta, Regions 2 and 4. Strathcona County honors the First Peoples of this land. We recognize we stand upon the land that carries the footsteps of the Cree, Métis, and Blackfoot amongst many other nations who have been here for thousands of years, and we are very proud to be protecting this land. There will be a question and answer period at the end of the presentation, but please put your questions in the chat throughout the presentation, and they'll be answered at the end. There is a bit of a delay with this online event, so the earlier you can put your questions in, the better, so we don't miss any at the end because of the delay. To start things off, we'd like to get to know you a little bit, so please let us know in the chat where you are joining us from. Our panel today, we have Angela Morin from Talent Acquisition and Human Resources, Division Chief Matt Chafee with our training division, and probationary firefighter Aaron Davies. And now I will pass things over to Angela.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. The purpose of this information session is to provide you with important information on the recruitment process and share insight into a career in emergency services with Strathcona County. So why a career with Strathcona County Emergency Services? Well, we are an integrated service, which means that our members are trained as both a firefighter and a paramedic. Our members can work seamlessly together at calls, responding by fire apparatus or ambulance, depending on the call. We cover 1,200 square kilometers of mixed urban and rural communities in Strathcona County. That's a lot of area to cover. We have 4 full-time stations and 2 part-time stations, and fire station number 7 is in the planning stages right now. We are a community with many needs, including petrochemical refining and industry, roads, rail and pipeline transportation corridors, high-density residential communities, many bodies of water, and an ever-increasing commercial business presence. In 2024, Strathcona ambulances responded to 10,129 calls. So, as you know, a career within a fully integrated service is exciting, fulfilling, diverse, and challenging. Our dedicated teams of emergency services professionals save lives and protect property by responding quickly and effectively. If you thrive on teamwork, want to help those in need, and have a desire to contribute to your community, we hope you consider applying. We are a growing department with many engaging career streams for you to work through. We have a high-fidelity EMS sim team supporting Alberta Health Services. We have water rescue, rope rescue, and drones teams, peer support and support teams, and a world champion fire fit team. We have pipes and drum and honor guard teams representing us throughout the year. We also provide an excellent employee development program to challenge you throughout your career. Lifelong learning is important to us, and we invest in our employees because we expect you to deliver very high service year in and year out. We do train frequently and expect you to be able to show that you are mastering the skills at your level. All right, so now we're going to talk about the application process and what you can expect for the dates of things that are available. So let's review that recruitment process. Prior to applying, you are encouraged to review all of the information that is available to you on our careers page. Here, you can link to the emergency services pages for an in-depth information on the process if you are considering a career with us. Our next posting timeframe is March 1st. Through March 31st, closing at 11:59 local time. So after the posting closes on March 31st, all applications will be screened for minimum qualifications. Successful candidates will then be contacted to start the next steps. You can expect to be contacted by telephone and email. Communication regarding the competition, including invitations to the testing, will be sent via email to the address you provide upon application. So please check your email often, including junk mail folders. The fitness testing at the U of A. So you are encouraged to complete the U of A firefighter fitness testing during their open testing dates. We will accept a successful fitness test result from the U of A that was conducted after January 1st, 2025. If you have not passed the test and you are being selected to move forward in our processes, you will be required to take that test. It is in your best interest to read in detail all of the information on the U of A firefighter fitness testing webpage. They provide details on exactly what to expect during this test, how to prepare, and tips on how to ensure you are ready and able to be successful in this physical testing. Please note, each candidate is responsible for paying the cost of that test, which is around $380. You pay that fee directly to the U of A when you register. If you are successfully hired by Strathcona County, you can submit to have that fee reimbursed. The interview and testing day will be mid-June. You can expect to be with us 5 to 6 hours to complete the following steps all in that same day: the firefighter aptitude test, the medical knowledge test, medical skills, and the interview. If you are invited to the interview day, you will get more detailed information about all of those steps, but let's review some of that together right now. The firefighter aptitude test is a multiple choice test that measures your understanding of reading and written information, math and numerical skills, maps, diagrams, and mechanical reasoning. You'll be seated in a classroom setting for this test, and it usually takes 2 hours to complete. There is no cost to you for this exam. We cover that on your behalf. The medical knowledge test and skills testing. You will complete a multiple choice medical knowledge test, and then you will demonstrate your skills at a simulation scenario. Here you will provide a clinical assessment and offer differential diagnosis with possible treatment suggestions aligned to your level of practice. And then there's the interview. You will meet with a small panel for an in-person interview. The interview style is behavioral based. This type of interview focuses on understanding how you've approached and handled past situations that may be relevant to the role. Our goal is to gain insight into your experience, problem solving, your approach to challenges that might mirror those you would encounter here on the job. You are encouraged to prepare and practice for your interview. We expect complete and thorough responses to each question. The interview is also your opportunity to let us get to know you a bit better. Even if you think you aren't experienced at the interview process, practice. Prepare for questions by thinking of specific examples that will best support your responses. Start writing down experiences you have had so that they're top of mind when you are asked about situations in the interview. We all look forward to meeting you during the interview, and we want you to be successful. After the testing and interviews conclude, the final selection process will begin. All candidates that participate in the interview day will be notified of their status, and if we're moving forward with you, you will be contacted about next steps, such as the offer of employment, which will happen around the end of June, a verbal and written offer. And then you proceed to the pre-employment medical assessment and drug screening, which will happen in July. The medical assessment is a condition of employment. It is a general physical with a doctor, including blood work, and it is to ensure you meet the requirements and physical demands of the job. You are encouraged to review the medical disqualifiers as listed in the NFPA standard. A mask fit is also completed at that time, and you must be clean shaven for that mask fit. And our anticipated start date is mid-August. So now let's review the required minimum qualifications you need to have at the time of your application. So you must meet the following minimum qualifications on the date you apply. You should be currently registered in good standing with the Alberta College of Paramedics as an ACP or a PCP, and we do verify registration. You should have a driver's abstract demonstrating a satisfactory driving record with no more than 7 demerits. If you are successful in the hiring process, that would be a condition upon hiring. You have to have a valid Class 4 driver's license or higher. A valid Class 3 driver's license with air brake or Q endorsement must be completed by the end of your probationary period, so 1 year, and that is a condition of employment. You are fully responsible for this condition and it is not reimbursed. This is at your cost. You have to have the ability to successfully obtain and maintain a vulnerable sector police check. Also, the ability to pass all physical and medical standards, including eyesight and audible, as outlined in that NFPA standard. The following qualifications are preferred, but not mandatory. 1001s, level 1 and 2, any emergency medical fire response or work experience, current ITLS, PALS, or ACLS certification. Please note, anybody moving through the process that does not currently have their 1001s will receive it as part of the training. And now I'm going to turn it back to Emergency Services to talk a little more about the department.
Awesome. Thank you, Angela. I am going to bring probationary firefighter Aaron Davies on, and he's just going to talk a little bit about the first few months on the floor and what recruit training was like.
Thanks, Jen. Hey, everybody. Like Jen said, my name's Aaron Davies. I was in your guys' shoes exactly 1 year ago. It's an exciting time and it's a nerve-wracking time. I'm sure you guys got lots of questions and you're in the right place to get them answered. So yeah, so the training, it was about 3.5 months of really good medical as well as fire training. Throughout that training process, you build bonds with your class that you'll friendships that you'll have forever. Also, while getting probably the best training around. I was came from another department and had a little bit of experience and never thought I would be able to receive the training I did throughout that 3.5 months, which prepped me for the time when I hit the floor. That's the big key here. Being prepared for the job that we do. So then I transitioned to the floor, which I didn't know what to expect at that time. Thankfully, I was set up with some really good mentors. Throughout Strathcona, they have a mentorship program, so you're not just put on the floor with no leadership or anything like that or guidance. So I'm attached to my mentor's hip and they lead me through on-the-job training daily, fire as well as medical. Also, I'm very involved with the crew and I have a lot of support from my station officers, which really takes a lot of the pressure off of me on a day-to-day basis. So what you got, that's a little bit what you guys can expect if you are successful. But throughout the process, enjoy it, embrace it. The day that you do get to do your interviews, it's a stressful day, but it's also a lot of fun. There's a different avenues you get to go down, trying on different gear and stuff like that. And yeah, have fun and good luck.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Aaron. Just to let everyone know that, so if you can get your questions submitted soon. We've definitely had a few come in, but I just want to make sure that we get them all in. I'm just going to turn things over to our division chief, Matthew Chafee, with our training division. He doesn't have a camera with his device right now, but he will talk to you a little bit about the department. If I can click on him. Let's see, I'm not sure if
I'm here.
Okay.
The only thing the screen share would do is show them my stunning still picture, but I can talk a little about the department here. So we have about 200, I think this class will probably bring us just up to or just over 200 full-time firefighters that work for us. We have about 40 part-time as well that respond and supplement our emergencies. Typically during wildland season is their biggest amount of work. When pardon me, when we talk about us being integrated, that means something very different for us. So we're top-down integrated, which means that everyone in the department has shared a load of the EMS versus fireworks. So from day one, our recruits are working pretty much a 50-50 split on the ambulance. As Aaron mentioned, they'll come in, they'll do their recruit orientation, which is their initial onboarding training. But from that point on, you're going to work one day on the ambulance, one day on the squad or the fire trucks, one night on the ambulance, one night on the fire trucks. So you really get to kind of practice both fields really well. Back before we were integrated with AHS, when we had truly like loose staffing, I remember there were days where we would like go to a fire and kick down the door in a fire, and then that same shift we resus someone in a code and pull someone out of a wreck and put them in stars. We had a few of those sort of like amazing shifts where we got to do like the full spectrum of care that's on the patch, the fire, rescue, EMS. We're busy. We do a lot of training. There's one of our senior officers has this line that says, the modern fire services job is to train. That's what we're supposed to be doing all day, every day to be operationally ready. So there's a very busy training schedule that you'll walk into when you start here, which will go from routine responses like deploying hand lines for structure fires to high angle rope rescue training to advanced medical training. We have crews that just right before we hopped on this call, we're finishing up medical sim training on PEDS anaphylaxis. So they were responding to a real call and treating a simulated patient like they would in real life with all the resources that they'd be using. So it's pretty busy day to day. It's a pretty good place to work. I don't know there's a lot of places that have our crews out the doors for both structure fires and medical events with the kind of care times that we have.
Oh, we've got a couple of questions, so we'll start with our Q&A session. Div Chief, I'll have you answer the first question. Is there any way I can sign up to volunteer firefighter and gain experience while I finish my EMR certification?
Yeah, you can certainly keep your eyes on the website and see when we have an application for volunteer fire spots for the part-time stations 2 and station 3. I don't think we're slated to have one of those until 2026 though.
Awesome, thank you. And the next question will go to Angela. Can we find any resources regarding tips for resume and cover letter?
Absolutely. So there's a lot of resources online that you can look up for that. One of the things that we look for is demonstrating competency and skills. So you want to make sure in your resume that you're touching on all of those transferable skills that you can add. So mechanical reasoning, do you have, even if you don't have any work experience, do you have experience working in a rural environment, on the farm, in group settings with teams? Because this is a very team-oriented career, do you have any experience working with teams? That can be anything from sports or school projects, things like that. You want to draw in those kinds of things. We want to see those highlighted because that lets us get to know you a little bit better also. In your cover letter or resume, and just so you know, a cover letter isn't required. It's an asset, but it's not required. We want you to demonstrate the experience that you do have. So you want to list out any employment that you've had, look at the job posting for what we are looking for, and you can, that helps you kind of frame and tailor your resume to this job that you're applying to. So that's what I would suggest for you.
Awesome, thank you. One more that's similar. Are there any resources for helping us prepare for Strathcona County interviews specifically?
Well, we do recommend people look up behavioral-based interviews as a start. So behavioral-based interviews are going to look at how your experiences can best support our services. And so that's what we're going to be analyzing. We don't require you to respond in STAR format, but STAR format is a very useful tool to prepare and practice for the behavioral-based interview. So the STAR format is going to ask you to speak or provide your responses using a situation, the task, the action, and a result. And using that format, it's going to help you really frame your question to be the most thorough that it can be. We prefer that you don't respond with hypothetical answers on things I would do or might do. We want you to be prepared to answer a question with something that you did do. That's why we encourage you to think about specific examples and prepare and practice that way. Jot down those things so that ahead of time that you're ready. And then if you're asked about those questions, it kind of comes more easily top of mind to prepare and respond to whatever question you're going to be asked. So some questions are going to be very general questions around teamwork. Tell us about a difficult situation. Tell us about how you resolved a problem. Have you demonstrated leadership in some capacity? Those kinds of things. So we don't have specific questions to share, but general behavioral based interviews. And you can also look at the job posting for kind of what we're looking for. Those are some of the questions that will be asked is right out of the job posting.
Awesome, thank you. The next few questions, I believe, are probably going to go to Division Chief Chafee. Do you have a say in what station you work out of?
The short answer to that is no. You'll be assigned to your platoon, and from your platoon chief will work out which station they need you at any given moment. All our stations are equipped slightly differently. So stations that can manage having higher volumes of new people who can't operate vehicles are a little more limited. And likewise, as your career progresses, you're needed where you're needed by the shift on any given day.
Awesome. Are you expected to eventually become an ACP? How soon can you apply to become an ACP or go to school?
Yeah, that's a great question. That actually dovetails into some stuff about education I could have talked about earlier. No one is required to become an ACP here. It is not necessary for your career progression. That being said, we typically have several spots every year that we open up to send people to school. You can apply for those after you've cleared probation and get put on a waiting list for assessment to go to the Advanced Care Paramedic program at NAIT. So this is 2 years of education, full freight paid by the department, and you're earning your wage while you're there. So it's a pretty impressive deal. I don't know of any other departments that do that the same way. In terms of further education, being a Strathcona County employee in general entitles you to apply for something called an individualized learning plan, which is sort of a credit sharing exercise where the county will pay for a percentage of your degree just for you to do advanced schooling. And then later on, if you get into the senior officer track, you can have your full freight paid for an emergency services administration degree if you're going to work yourself into a chief role. So there's quite a bit in the way of education available to you once you're here. It does include paramedic, but it's never required to be paramedic.
Awesome. Another question is, on an average day, how many calls does an ambulance run per day with Strathcona County Fire EMS?
I bet Aaron can handle that better than I can right now.
Yeah, I can answer that one. So that's kind of a hard answer because a day shift is a 10-hour day and a night shift we work 14-hour night. So you could run anywhere from, depending on what station you're at, but 1 to 2 to 6 to 8. It all depends on how busy the trucks are in Edmonton. If Edmonton can staff a full complement of trucks, our call volume is more manageable around that 2 to 3 calls a day.
Awesome. Next question is, can you accommodate staff who are going to school to become an ACP?
That one's probably me again. Yes, we can. We have made arrangements for practicum placements for people that we've hired. So the last few years, we've hired several people that are somewhere in the course of their advanced care paramedic practicum series. So it very much depends on where they are in their clinical rotations, how much time they're going to need to miss from things like recruit training or their first year. I believe we tend to extend someone's probation just to accommodate for that as well. But we have worked through various solutions for people before. So I guess the quick answer is if you're a strong candidate and we think the juice is worth the squeeze with bringing you in the middle of your schooling, then we'll make it work.
Awesome. I've got a few more questions for you as well, but I just want to remind everybody to submit your questions. We're coming towards the end of the number of questions that we have, so I just want to make sure that you get them all in. Next question is, are the simulations in-house at the station, or are they being taken at public buildings, for example, the U of A sim?
Yeah, the slideshow, I can't remember if it's Jen who's controlling the slideshow. Can you slide back to the one that shows the people recessing at the pool?
Maybe.
Maybe. The sim program, the way it works is right now 3 times a year, a little less than once a quarter, we put together a high fidelity simulation training exercise. There you go. This one here was one that we ran at Millennium Place. I really like this picture because it shows them running a full speed simulation. So they walked through the door, they had no idea what they were walking into, and they were told they were going to pediatric drowning. And that's Millennium Place lifeguard staff with RPC doing CPR and working on their skills to hand patient care over to our transport unit. The person pointing there in that picture is at the time this picture was taken, a senior lieutenant, junior acting captain who's running this resus call for his crew. And I think that just speaks volumes to the level of dedication we have here, that this guy, despite being here for 20 some years, is still dialed in enough to run a pediatric resus in real time in front of a couple newer members. That I really like this picture for that reason. But yes, we alternate around. We go to a lot of different sites to run our high fidelity sim. We've done them in different county facilities and different private facilities, and sometimes we do run them in the stations as well, just to ease up on the scheduling and make it easier for the crews to rotate through.
Awesome. With the medical skills test, sorry, hang on. Will the medical skills test be changed to your skill level? For example, will a PCP receive the same test as an ACP?
So the ACPs will do a different written test. The practical testing will be the same regardless. So what we're really building these evaluation criteria for are to screen out members who have worked for advanced life support services before. So if you are already working with another advanced care paramedic and you know how to assist them and know how some of these calls progress, you will have a distinct advantage over someone who is only focused on the primary care paramedic skill set and doesn't understand how these calls evolve in the long run.
All right, next question is, what does time away from home look like? Aaron, did you want to answer this one?
Yeah, that's another good question. It all depends where you live. I live on the other side of Edmonton, unfortunately, so I have a little bit more of a commute. Like we said, you work a 10-hour day shift and a 14-hour night shift, so you're off at 8 a.m. in the morning or you're off at 6 p.m. So, and generally, if you're on the ambulance, we have a EMS captain that is really good at helping us get back to station on time, because family and work-life balance is very important to the organization from what I found. So yeah, we work our normal shift and hopefully be off on time.
Awesome. The next couple questions we have, I will send them to Angela. What are certain job benefits you get? Dental, retirement insurance, and maybe paid time off?
Absolutely, great question. So very happy to say that we do have a wonderful health program available to all of our employees. The pension is local authorities pension plan, and that starts day one, which is excellent. There's no waiting period for that. There's lots of support provided. There's peer support, mentorship, education, as mentioned. So we do offer a full total compensation package, as well as very competitive, exceeding industry standard wages.
Awesome. And then one other question, and this is the last question that we have so far. So if there's any last minute ones to please send them in. So what does pay growth look like over your career?
Great question. So depending on where you are coming to us from, if you have no experience or a lot of experience, you will be slotted appropriately on the pay grid. Most people start with us as a 4th class firefighter and proceed up to 3rd, 2nd, and then 1st class as each year goes by. If we have people coming to us with many years of experience, then they will be slotted appropriately, possibly at 2nd class or 1st class, and then through the stages of senior firefighter, officer, and all of the other levels as well. Great growth and promotion opportunities.
All right, well, thank you so much to our panel for being here today. I don't see any other questions that have come in, but if you do have a question that you think of afterwards, feel free to reach out to us. There is an email that's in the chat right up at the top. You can also DM us on Instagram and we will get back to you. So yeah, just wanted to thank everybody for coming out tonight, and hopefully we answered all of your questions. And thank you and good luck with the application process. And it's a lot to prepare for, but we hope to see you soon. Oh, sorry, we did get one question in. Do you have different meals for each dinner? For example, like pasta night, Chinese food night, Italian night. So that's kind of a fun question. So maybe Aaron, I'll send that one to you.
Yeah, like I was mentioning earlier, the bonds grow large. So the crew cooks together, whether it's lunch or dinner. You don't have to be involved, but generally, yeah, there's some pretty good cooks and meals are pretty tasty.
They definitely are. Okay, well, thank you so much, everybody. And this will be recorded and posted so you can take a look later. And again, if you have any questions, please reach out. Thanks and have a good night.